Well, another good opportunity now to check in with Superintendent Wyeth, Jessee from the Shelton School District. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Jeff?
Great. School year is underway, like a month already, kind of in the books. And I know you go travel around to the different schools, and we've been doing some kind of community outreach forums. We got more on the way. And what are you hearing? What's kind of the feel as we're a month into this whole thing?
Super smooth. Like we've had this is the smoothest school year that I can ever remember. To be honest with you, I just can't believe it. But we're in, and I know there'll be ups and downs. This is involving kids. So there's always new learning experiences. We had a couple fights unexpectedly. At SHS that kind of bothers us. And I was at SHS today, just digging into the why, and so they got a plan and working on it. It's a learning opportunity for these kids. They don't want to do it when they're adults.
Right. And yeah, I was just going to ask you about that learning. How much do you think goes into kind of like these after action reports where the teachers are maybe able to, or the advisors, or someone's able to kind of sit back and go, how, if you were in that situation, how would you handle things differently? What kind of, how do we want to be high climbers? How much of that
Yeah,
goes on?
lot, and that's the work we've been doing for years. It's by design where these kids come, and we have a saying here: story, strength, and need. So we need to know these students' stories and what's their strengths and what's their needs, so that we can get them in the right place, right? Because sometimes kids are miscast. What? Why are you in this class? Like, I don't even want to be in that class. I want to be a carpenter. Like, okay, so let's recast this where it's at. Or I don't like that kid, and I don't know, like how do we problem solve? So we get into those things. We have mental health therapy. We have wraparound services for the homes. We know what's going on. So a lot of the stuff does tend to come from the home life where things are rough, and then they act out, right?
Yeah.
Then it happens on campus, and then we come back around on it and try to address each of the issues the best we can as a school district. We are a school district. We're not everything, but we try to offer everything we can so that they don't become barriers to the kids' education. And so for us, I was just going down literally case by case, what's the story, and working through it, and really working with the parents and the guardians about some of these situations, because they are situations that are also going on at home. And so we just kind of work on like, hey, okay, well, so like how to make that different, how to make it a place where the kid sees purpose in what they're doing. They understand their expectations. If they're having a rough time, how can they get help before they make the wrong decision? And that's what we do.
So you've been in the role now about 5 years, and if I'm trying to do the math, the seniors now would have been what, eighth graders, I suppose, when you kind of came on board. So give me
Correct.
give me like an assessment of what you have seen in the growth of not only maybe that class moving up, but then too how that plays into the the strategic plan that you have been pushing for these so many years. Like, how have you seen these kids evolve into where they're at now?
Yeah, man, it's there's so much work that's gone on, especially for this incoming senior class, where things were really tough at OBJH when I got here. I was nervous when I went in there. There are just some things that were really unruly, and I was at OBJH today, and they got a plan. Anybody out of the hallways, like, they're escorted back. They have a plan for the passing periods. Use some new technology that we started implementing at SHS last year. We implement there, and then they have like literally contracts with individual students who struggle from that. But it's the other side that really is the most powerful thing, and which is two things. One, high quality instruction. Are kids engaged in what they're learning? And two, what do we got going on for leadership? Building relationships with these kids. What do you want to do? Where are you going to go? They have a whole room full of like dresses for girls. And so there's a couple different classes, but seamstry and project management, and also just around like, how do you do sales? And so they got all these gowns and dresses that the girls can come in during lunch. They got some of the student leaders in there, helping them find the right dress, like they were a salesperson on the retail floor, and checking them out, and also helping them, get their dresses fitted so they can do any, patchwork for it, or get it properly fitted so they'll get that, and then the girls can come back the next day and pick it up, and they can use it at one of the dances. I mean, like, are you kidding me, Jeff? Like, the kids are leading. The
Yeah.
kids are a way better place. We're not talking about kids out in huff and puff anymore. We're not talking about like all these problems. Yeah, there is going to be these fights. Like there are, they've been going on. We've minimized that, but it's like it's not just minimizing what it is that are the negatives or being out of class or skip. It's now how do you empower the kids to be owners of their own education and be leaders within the school community and the greater community. That's where it's awesome.
When did that sort of new start? I mean, to me, it's even though I've kind of been around the system here at the district for a while now, so I've seen some of these changes. But when, in your time in education overall, was there this shift to, essentially it's kind of like what Cedar and Choice do, these project-based, the CTE, the hands-on learning. When did you first start to see that change from kind of what 40-year-olds and above have
Yeah.
seen in the classroom,
Sure.
where it was a lot of face front, here's your worksheet, here's the VCR for the day?
I think I still remember some of those drill marks, Jeff.
Sure.
It was rough, wasn't it? Like just
Yeah.
copy these notes for 30 minutes. Yeah, that just doesn't engage kids. So in some ways, it's just the research tells you these things aren't really working. We have more data at our hands than ever. I think that has contributed to a better education for kids. Expectations are higher, but at the same time, the public's going to expect more. And so for us, I think, well, for the notion of what kids are, generations are different, and the engagement and what works in the past doesn't work for the current generation. I mean,
Right.
you probably know that as a parent. A lot of people listening are like, yeah, I can't. The way the things were happening in my household when I was a kid are not the same things that work now. That's true. And so either we adapt and meet them where they're at, or we're headed uphill battles, right? Where we're going to be in loggerheads with kids. They're not going to be engaged, and then we're just suspending, or they don't show up to school. We have significantly decreased our discipline, but we still struggle to get kids to school here. Our attendance rate is it can be rough at times to get them, but when they are here and they are engaged, we now offer amazing services, right pathways, obviously the core basic skills, and citizenship, and a ton of activities and athletics here. So all those things really help contribute, things that were not available, like you said, when we were kids. Like there were nearly this many clubs,
Right.
and things that kids can get into, especially around leadership, than we ever did. And so now they're here. Kids have wanted them. The research says that's great because that gets kids involved. We just got to continue to tell kids, hey, this has actually changed. Because I mean, yeah, it's changed probably like maybe about almost 20 years now, 20 to 15 years ago. And now recently with the cell phones just being such a big impact, especially since COVID, it is now required. And so that's the transition that public school systems are trying to do, is to engage kids and not just like activities, but it's also about how do you teach kids? It's got to be different. You really can't teach a lesson for more than 15 minutes before you lose them.
Sure. And I did see online somebody the other day, and you don't have to answer this, but I just want to say that people were asking again about what this district cell phone policy was, and that has, for the high school at least, changed and it's new this year. It's available on the district. You can find that information, but that is one of the key things. So you're offering all these things, and people have started to talk about this in the community, but there's costs associated with that, and the budgets, of course, are continued to be tight, and trying to figure out where monies are going to be coming from. Levy opportunities are on the way, and again, kind of explain a little bit where those dollars that come in from the voters plus the match from the state, if it, where that fits into all of this hands-on, project-based, club learning, all that stuff?
Well, the levies over 12% of the budget, so it's everywhere. So, you know what I mean? Like, it just is. It's called basic ed enhancement, and anybody listening goes, wait, basic ed enhancement, isn't basic ed what the state's supposed to fund, right? Like, and so true, but it helps fill in other things that are what we would call as supplemental, that I think a lot of people would say are basic ed. You know, we get extra counselors, you get a librarian, you get extra front office staff, you get extra educators to go in and do tutoring and to do extra supervision, you know, all those, you know, security personnel, plus utilities. I mean, I'll keep saying it, I'll say it a million times, you know, when the state shorts us $3 million in utilities for the last 4 years, 3 million short last 4 years, where does that money come from? It's got to come from somewhere.
Right.
And that's the levy. I mean, it's not an attractive thing, but you know, the PUDs didn't expect to get paid, and so is the city for water and insurance. Everybody knows that from just looking at their own insurance bills. So those things are the same for the district. That's where the money goes for some basic things, but it also goes for, again, those enhancements that make the schools safer, the things that really allow kids to get extra support when they need it, no matter where they're at. Because we are public schools. Like I said, we're the center of this community. We offer, I think, so much more than when we went to school. And you can just see it by walking on a campus. You're like, what? Like, you're able to meet with a counselor? Like, you have regular appointments with them to help create goals and keep you in school? You know, like, just all those things that I don't think just, that's why we offer, and we are very thankful for the taxpayers, for sure.
It's a month in. Things seem to be going really well across the whole district wide, not just even the high school, but the middles and elementary schools as well. We continue these kind of roundtable discussions. Before too long, we're going to be at OMS, and we're going to hit up all the schools. I think the last one at Bordeaux was really informative for a lot of folks who were there, but then also listened in on the tape playback afterwards, hearing from the principal and a teacher there, plus the you and the some of the school board members. So I think those will just continue to be really impactful. So parents, again, have a good sense of, you know, what happens with their kid for a third of the day when they're, you know, out of the house, what is happening
Yep.
and where, you know, they put the trust and faith into the district. And so those are really great. So again, thanks for the time there today, Superintendent Jessee, and we'll see you at Oysterfest across this weekend. I know there's going to be some district folks who are talking about things. So just a good opportunity to engage. And like you say it all the time, but I'll reiterate it. Go and visit the schools and really see what's going in. I was there last night with the CTE programming, and the adults, the industry partners we have, were walking away going, cannot believe the skill level and the engagement that these students are going through on these. Like Gretchen was saying last night, these are electives, and they're a very important part of the whole process of some of these classes. So it was a really cool night last night.
Come see the amazing things going on in the Shelton School District, and stop by. We'll have a booth at Oysterfest. I'll be there and happy to explain some more and answer any questions people have.
All right. Thank you, sir.